My name is Dr. Andrea Pennington. I'm an integrative physician, acupuncturist, and brand strategist. My career in broadcast and digital media spans over 20 years. As past medical director for Discovery Health Channel, I've had multiple appearances on Oprah, Dr. Oz, and CNN, and my TED Talks have reached 2.5 million people. I've published 13 books in the last few years, and now I work anywhere there's Wi-Fi. For the last several years, I've been helping other doctors, dentists, healers, and coaches from around the world to share their messages with global audiences through personal branding, publishing, online courses, and media training. And what makes this combination unique is that I am bringing my 20 years of expertise as a professional speaker and coaching other people on their TED-style talks. So I know what it takes to craft a keynote, a TED Talk, and even workshop presentations so that you communicate your message with confidence and clarity. I think I've been muted. Hello, welcome everyone. I hope you can hear me now. Welcome to our special bonus edition deep dive session. Have you been enjoying all of these deep dives? Have you been binge watching the replays? I hope so. Well, I am so excited to have you here. I'm Dr. Andrea Pennington, Managing Director of Make Your Mark Global. And today we are going to help you pull out that wonderful language that describes who you are, what you do, in exactly the tone that your ideal customer will resonate with. And by doing that, you're going to be able to get people onto your email list. You can sell your products and offerings and enroll new clients. And my special guest today is Sarah Kate Brandis. We have a saying here at Make Your Mark Global, and that is everybody needs a Sarah, because she has been my right-hand woman for the last few years, doing my social media content, my email newsletters, and even blog posts. I am one of these very picky people about who I let control what goes out into the world if it's not me. And she has completely nailed my voice and my audience's voice. And now I get to share her and her brilliance with you. So welcome, Sarah Kate. So good to have you here.
Hello. Am I coming through okay?
Yep, it's a
Can you
little
hear me okay?
pixelated on my end, but I see you and I hear you.
Ah, excellent. So yeah, we're doing tech inception today. Tech in tech to get us both together side by slides with my slides which are coming up as well. So I hope it's working okay for everyone. I'm gonna do my best to pace myself, speak slowly, make sure I answer all the questions. So most of you know me, I think. If you came to Glay last year and got your Glay on, then you met me already and we did a little bit of work together already. That was on blogging. Today it's all about copywriting, and I don't want that to scare you off because I know that terminology like copywriting, it's kind of scary. You know, if you're not in the marketing world, then it's one of those terms that just makes you go, "Oh, that's not for me. I don't know what that is." And I like to say to people that marketing is really just mostly common sense. A lot of it is hidden behind industry jargon, so you think it's wizardry, but it's not. It's really common sense. And today's common sense take home is to put yourself in the shoes of your customer, your avatar, because that's how you pick the right language and the right words to really write something that resonates with them. So I'm hoping a lot of you will already have been through Andrea's deep dives and will remember at least something of deep dive number 2, which was nail your niche, not niche, niche. Over here in Britain, niche. Yeah, God, that made me happy when you said that. Thank you.
Yes, I
Thank you.
know.
It's not a
I
niche.
mean, I'll apologize for the Americans who say niche. Stop it, America. The word is niche. Um, awesome. Well, yeah. So everyone,
Yeah,
I do feel like this is such an important part of it because it's wonderful when you finally learn how to describe what you do, but you've got to make sure that you then translate it in a way that your ideal customer really feels like what you're offering is for them. And Sarah is a master at this.
This is the thing because we're all so close to our own businesses. We know what we do, like we know the back of our hand. So it's really easy for us to accidentally speak in our language. So if you're a healer, you might find that you're talking about chi or prana, not realizing that your customers don't necessarily know what that is. And the switch that I want to teach you today is to just get in their shoes, forget the industry language that you know, think like them, and what's their pain point, what are the words that they would use. They wouldn't necessarily, and there are going to be a few magical unicorn clients that know everything you're about, and I bet you'd have the best conversations with them about prana or chi or whatever it is that you discuss with them. But a lot of your clients, or a lot of your potential clients that you might be missing right now because they're not getting through because of this language barrier, they don't know that they've got blocked chi. They don't know that their chakras are blocked, but they do know that they're extremely tired and disconnected with themselves. That's the language, and that's the pain point for your client. And when you can start to write your copy, basically just words, that's all we're talking about. When you start to talk with these words, blocked energy, tiredness, fatigue, stress, disconnect, this is when your potential clients can start to self-identify and say, oh, that's me, I need what you've got, whereas they knew nothing about the prana that you were speaking about before. So that's what I want to get into your heads today. Take that home with you. It will make such a big difference to your sales.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, you know what? Let's do one thing. Let's try to turn off your camera for a second and then turn it back on and see if we get a better connection.
oh yeah, sure, okay, bear with me a sec.
Yeah, and then we will, I'd love it if you would share your slides when we get you back on so that you can just lead us through some good examples. You know me, I love stories, I love examples that really help us see this in action. And then for those of you watching live, you'll be able to ask Sarah questions and me, and we can help you kind of figure out the language if that's something that you've been struggling with. So now I see your slides. Do you want to turn on your camera as well? Yeah, awesome. There we go.
Excellent, cool. Can you see me and the slides?
I see just you, and now I'm going to bring in your slides and let you take it away. Does that work for you?
Cool. Okay, so what a surprise, there's a black cat on my slides. He's become part of my branding. This guy's name is Salem. He's my mascot now. All right, so I've called this those how to word those irresistible offers in your avatar's own language. So you might remember that Andrea was teaching you in Deep Dive 6 how to craft an irresistible offer, and that was really more about like how to present the value, so the structure of offering a big bundle at a discount, that sort of thing. What I'm going to do is teach you just the copywriting side of it. So it's like a nice little bolt on to Deep Dive number 6. So think back to Deep Dive 2, and if you didn't watch it or you can't remember, don't panic. What the lesson was, in a nutshell, is finding out who is your avatar. And if you've not come across this word before, or you have but it freaked you out because it's marketing jargon, that's one of those things that I love to demystify for people. So I was saying before that marketing is basically just common sense hidden behind a bit of industry jargon. The word avatar in the marketing world, it's really like the sum total of all of your potential clients sort of summarized into one fictional character. So if you think of a cross section of your typical clients, we're all going to have a variety, and there's always an exception as well. So like I've spoken to lots of people who've said, oh, I only coach women, except like there's these 2 men that come to me as well. That means that your avatar is a woman, and don't overthink it. Like, don't worry about those 2 guys. You're not excluding them, but you're thinking of the avatar being the average of your average client. It's the average of the average. So your client then would be a woman. And then if you've got a range of ages, so you've got mostly middle-aged women, but there's a couple of millennials and even an older lady, then your avatar's age is middle age, because it's the average of the averages. And then you look at things like really general demographics like career. So most of them are corporates, but there are a few freelancers. Your avatar is a corporate. So if you look at it that way, you're now imagining this sort of cartoon character of your avatar being a middle-aged female corporate. That's your avatar. That's how you find them. And then put yourself in their shoes and consider how much they know about your methodology and about your terminology. So with me, for example, I think I've put this on the next slide. Oh, yeah, there we go. That worked well. With me, when I'm marketing myself to potential clients, I need to think about my avatar. And for me, she is a middle-aged female life coach, and I need to put myself in her shoes. So if I use those words on the left and I get on our Skype meet session and I start going, oh, conversion rates, click-through rates, ROI, I'm just going to like scare her or bore her or both. And we're probably not going to end up working together because she's not going to know what on earth I'm talking about. And that's if we've even got as far as having a Skype conversation. Because if I've emailed her stuff like this, if I've posted a bunch of stuff like this on social, if that's all she's seen of me, my industry jargon, I probably haven't spoken to her in a way that's going to resonate. So over on the right, these are perhaps the words that are going to make more sense to her. She's a middle-aged female life coach. She hasn't been to business school. She doesn't know about marketing. She speaks plain, simple English. So she knows that her pain points are that she wants more paying customers, perhaps more readers of her blog or social media, and she wants to get out at least what she puts in, if not more. And those relate to those words on the left. So where I would say conversion rates, someone who speaks English would say, I want more paying customers. Where I would say click-through rates, someone who speaks plain English would say, I want more readers. I want more people reading my emails. Where I would say ROI, which stands for return on investment, sort of thing that marketing departments say at meetings to try and sound important, then what the average English speaker would say, I want to get out more than what I put in. So if I put £50 into my marketing budget, I want to make £150 back. And that makes sense to everybody. I mean, does that make sense to you guys? It's plain simple English. So this is what I'm talking about with just putting yourself in the shoes of your customer. What words are going to resonate for them, and what will make sense and what will not scare them off. So let's take a different example. Let's say you're a healer. Over on the left, you might say, in your language, you might talk about chi or prana. If your client avatar is a middle-aged corporate lady who has not studied the same things that you've studied, then she won't know what chi or prana are, but she might know that she needs to boost her energy. That's a pain point for her. She's exhausted. You might think of unblocking chakras. She will think of rebooting her energy system. That will make sense to her. You might think of shifting blockages. She wants to maintain that flow state and happiness. I'm sure that all makes sense. I don't even need to ask. It's simple stuff, right, guys? So
yes, well, we do have some
marketing
people in the chat saying, yes, this totally makes sense. So thank you, Tony and Amaka and Lena and Ofkia and Jill for chiming in. So yeah.
Good. So good marketing copy swaps out industry terminology for your avatar's pain points. That's it at its most basic level. You can think of today's session as like peeling an onion, though, because we're going to go a couple of layers deeper. So that was it in a nutshell. Layer one is just those simple swaps. Couldn't be easier. But we do get to use a little industry terminology later, which means you get to show off your knowledge a little bit. And that's not bad either. Just needs to be done in the right way. So we want to think about these irresistible offers that we're going to be making, perhaps using Andrea's price structure if you've got a bundle of things to offer, and using the right copy that speaks to the right people. And it all works the same in different places, whether it's social media, whether it's email, or whether it's blog posts. But generally speaking, the longer your content is, the more opportunity you've got to use a little industry terminology in a positive way. And we're going to do this by teaching people a little lesson from your world. So In longer form copy, you can explain a term to your audience, teach them something, and demonstrate your magic. So a big part of being on social media actually is something that we call social proof. So showing people that you've got fans and followers, you've got popularity because you're good at what you do, you want referrals on there, you want to share, oops, sorry, I clicked on a pop-up. You want to share your brilliance, really. You want to show people how much you know without being a know-it-all or anything like that. So when you get to longer form copy, so a long social media post, an email newsletter, or a blog post is particularly good for this. You can take a little time and break down a term that they might have heard but don't understand. So this is the second layer of the onion. Whereas before I was saying, don't lead with that. Don't come in saying chi and prana and chakras, because people will be like, whoa, okay, that's not for me. Come in saying pain, energy, unblock that, get your flow back. But a little bit further into your copy, the second layer of the onion, you can start to say, did you know that in the kind of healing I practice, we talk about energy as prana and blah, blah, blah. You can start to teach a lesson. So my own personal example of this as a marketer is that I quite like to explain the marketing funnel to people, because it's one of those industry terms that people hear and they go, I have no idea what that is and it sounds expensive. It's actually not. It's really, really common sense. And when I can explain it to people, one, I'm demonstrating my knowledge and my magic, but also I'm teaching them a lesson that is incredibly useful for their business. And if they can use it, if they can use their new understanding of what a marketing funnel is, then that can be something they can implement in their business. I'm not going to go into details of what a marketing funnel is because I don't want to distract from what we're teaching today. But I've got videos on this. I can send you blog posts. Don't worry about it for now. Later, if you want to have my explanation of what a marketing funnel is, I'll be more than happy to oblige. Or maybe if you've got time in Q&A later. But for now, I just wanted to say that you can take some of those things that are unique to your world and explain them in gentle, plain English and demystify them for your audience, for your readers, because that demonstrates your knowledge and it gives them a little skill that they can take away. And teaching people something is hugely valuable in your content marketing, because it's starting to build trust. It's starting to show them why you're worth whatever you're charging, why they should keep coming to you. So just a little example from me. This is one of my Instagram posts, and I haven't actually used the word sales funnel in here, but I've kind of started to explain the journey that you take somebody on, which, by the way, guys, is kind of a funnel. It's just about taking people on a journey. So it begins, like I've said here, when you're sort of courting people through content marketing, you're first of all speaking to your social media audience, you're getting them interested and engaged, and then you might opt them into a Facebook group or an email marketing list and send them a bit more content, get them a bit more engaged, and then they grow to like and trust you. And this is what the content marketing process is all about. And then eventually, when the time is right, and if your offer is right for them, they might decide to buy from you. And that journey, in a nutshell, is a marketing funnel. And I've said this in 57 different ways in my content, but this is how I like to teach people little bits about what it is that I do in marketing. It's not that mysterious. It's not a dark art. It really is just common sense.
It is, and I'm glad you're
bringing.
I'm glad you're bringing this up, Sarah, because I think people miss this idea about the customer journey. Like we think when we start thinking about social media and sales, it's like, oh, well, I need to get stuff out there. People need to know what I'm selling and what I'm hosting and all my retreats. But if you think of it as a journey, that you would start a conversation and a relationship step by step, then everything you're doing, whether that's on social media and then eventually your email, thinking of it as a journey, I think is so clever. Thank you for that.
Yeah. I hope that comes as a relief to people as well. Like, it's not just like blam, 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 buy my stuff and then stuff is sold, the end. It's much gentler than that, and it takes longer, and it should. It's like a courtship. You're kind of dating them for a while. They have to get to know you. And This doesn't apply to like cheap impulse buys, like purchasing something for $10 on eBay. But if you're selling something real that's an investment in you, so if you're selling a block of life coaching sessions or something like that, that's an investment, and it takes people time to build a relationship with you before they'll part with their money. So I think probably knowing your audience, that's going to be really nice for them, because they're not people that just want the money. They are people that want a value exchange. So yeah, so it's nice. You go on a journey together. And this all works in emails and blog posts, not just Instagram. Introduce a topic, as I said before, in the avatar's language. So touch on those pain points. So tiredness, pain, exhaustion, lack of clients, whatever it is, touch on that in their language. And then if you've got the room, because you're doing a longer post, then in the middle, teach a little bit about how it works in your world. So that thing I was saying again about really starting to take one piece of terminology from your world and start to explain it. So, i.e., blocked chakras, and relate it to the avatar's pain point. So, you know, that sense of disconnect that you've got, it could be this. Here's something that we do in my world. And then at the bottom, this is where content becomes content marketing. This is what we call, this marketing terminology again, the CTA, or the call to action. And all that means is that you offer your services. And that's really it. So I know that people love a model. And I literally thought this yesterday because I was thinking about this. And I was like, I know people love a model. So this is kind of a model within a model. So the top line where it says content marketing structure, 80% value, 20% call to action. That idea has been around forever. It's certainly not unique to me. And it's based on Pareto's principle, which has got nothing to do with marketing. I'm sure everyone's heard of Pareto's principle, no matter what industry you're in, because it's one of those things that's probably older than the pyramids. It's mathematical. I don't completely understand it, but people seem to apply it to everything. We love it. I don't know why. I'm not going to pretend to understand why, and maths is not my strong point. But when I first started learning marketing, pretty much the first book I opened, they were talking about the 80-20 rule. And that is that when you create a piece of content that is for the purposes of marketing, then 80% of that entire content should be purely you giving value. So where you touch on a pain point, where you break down some industry terminology, you're teaching, you're sharing, you're giving for free, you're building trust and taking them on the journey. All of that, 80% value. And then the last 20% maximum, and it's often less, and that's fine, is your call to action, where you're asking them for something in return. And that might be a sale. It doesn't have to have a monetary value on it. It might be that you're simply asking for their email address because you want them to opt in to a freebie that you have that puts them on your mailing list. So that line on this slide has been around forever, and it's not mine. And many different marketers have dressed it up in many different ways. If you know Gary Vaynerchuk, as you might have been following me on Facebook, you've seen me reposting stuff from 3 years ago where Andrea and I were expert empires, and she was up there with Gary. That was very cool. So if you know Gary, he's got a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. And it's an entire book on this one principle branded his way. And when he talks about jabbing, 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 and then right hooking his customers on social media, he's talking about that 80% is the jabs, the value. So he's give, 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 and he does a right hook, which is a sales pitch. And that's his whole method. But it's not his method, it's Pareto's law. So everybody talks about it.
You know, this is actually one of those things that for me is so, it's the thing that I try to teach all of our luminaries. That one, normally people are coming to me for branding, like they want to know how to brand themselves, how to stand out in a crowd. And the first thing I say is just give value, not try to be selling, not try to be getting people on your list in the very beginning. And I actually tend to err on the side of 90-10. You know, there may be a period of time when we're doing more sales if we have an event, but on all my social media channels, you'll see that it's free content. I'm not asking for anything. It's about teaching and inspiring and giving. And that creates that loyalty that Sarah's talking about and that sense of trust. So definitely this, whether you call it the 80-20 rule or the Pareto principle, doesn't matter. But this is definitely something that you should keep in mind because it's going to build your sense of brand equity and prestige.
It's almost tattoo worthy. Like draw it on yourself somewhere. And then the next line down on the slide, this is the thing that I came up with yesterday because what I knew I wanted to say to you guys was that of that 80%, the value, some of it's going to be the teaching that I was just talking about. So taking one terminology, one thing from your world, like prana, and explaining what it is and how it relates to people, teaching. And then some of it is going to be just pure story as well, because as I'm sure Andrea has said, I've heard you say it several times already over the 6 deep dives, you know, story is essential for so many reasons. I mean, it places you in the world. It shows people that you have a background and you're not this anomaly who popped up on Instagram overnight. It makes you a real person who's relatable. It gives so much, and it makes people that much more willing to trust you. So story's got to be in there as well. And I knew that people would no doubt ask me how much should be teaching, how much would be story. And I don't have an ancient principle to base this on. So I had a look at what I've been doing, and I had a look at a few people that I really admire, and I'll show you them in a couple of slides' time. But it seems to be that we can yet again use Pareto's principle. I'm going to say, and I'm going to stick my head on the block here, and people can prove me wrong if they want, but I'm going to say 80% teaching, 20% story should be what makes up that 80% value. So I have attempted with some coloured blocks below to show you a ratio of how I think should be. My clients are life coaches, so I don't like the word should, but should be. What that one, Andrea?
You know what? I will differ with you on this one. For me personally, you hear me talking about story. I like to teach with stories. Of course, when I'm doing an official training, when I invite you to a webinar, just like we're doing here today, we're teaching. So the slides are going to be about content. But in general, if I'm just doing social media and I want to teach a principle, I teach it in the context of a story. And I think that just comes from my years as a doctor, trying to help people understand health things like in a way that was relatable. And the human brain relates better to stories. We create our own movies in our minds and images in our mind. So if I'm teaching, I like to teach with stories. That's why we do all these case studies. And I know you have some side-by-side examples coming up as well. But that's my bias. I love stories, and I feel like for most of us, especially if you don't have like a vast professional background or experience, if you can bring things to life for people through a story, you can demonstrate your expertise that way, and that is another way to teach. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, definitely the punch, isn't it, in a piece of content. If you're teaching and then you go, in my experience, and you share a bit of your own, and that bit's really powerful. It really resonates to people for sure. So I think my next slide is an example. Yay! It's an example. So this is the teaching side of the value. So there's a couple of examples here from us. So one of Andrea talking about some neuroscience and some research and the current pandemic.
I don't see the slide has changed yet. Or did it?
It has on my screen. Shall I back and forward?
I have on the top, where does story come in?
Oh, let me go back and forward. Get anything?
No. So maybe unshare, and then let's take it again.
Okay, let's try that.
Yeah, I do feel like the more that when I see that people are confused, like a lot of times, especially with the healers that we work with, sometimes we're introducing things that people have never heard of. And if you just stay in your professional jargon, then it's hard for the person to imagine themselves either doing that thing or getting that result. And so instead of professional jargon, if you can teach through a story or explain through a story, then people can start to imagine themselves in that treatment or getting that result with you.
Yeah, that's really key, isn't it? People have to be able to see themselves in it, and they certainly can't if you go in talking a language that they don't relate to. I think the magic really happens when you touch on their pain points in their language and they just go, oh yeah, that's me. And then if you go on and share your own story that's similar, that really fast tracks that courtship, you know.
Yeah.
Are my slides coming now?
I
Or
don't
not
see
so much?
I don't see your slides yet.
Oh no. But they're really good. And
I
they're
can
pretty.
I think I can I'll bring them up on my side if you'd like.
Okay, cool. Give it a try. It's on teaching examples. Cool. We haven't got too many slides today anyway. I wanted to leave lots of time for questions and conversation.
Yeah, guys. So if
But
you do have questions, please pop them into the chat so that Sarah can answer them. Let's see.
yeah.
Let's
I
see now.
will. Yay. All right, cool. So yeah, just a couple of examples here of more of the teaching, less of the story side. So there's one of Andrea's Instagram talking about the current pandemic, the trauma, and explaining a bit of the neuroscience. So then the call to action you can see there is to take our ACE quiz, which is cool. You should take that ACE quiz. And then over on my side, this is me talking about a typical marketing client's pain points. Why aren't more people seeing my social posts? And who hasn't struggled with that, right? Anybody? Is the chat blowing up now? Everyone will be like, no one's seeing my social posts. It's true. Algorithms are a huge pain for us right now. So there's me talking about how algorithms slow you down on social, and you might want to consider starting your own email newsletter list, because that way you own your contacts. And there are still barriers to people seeing your content. They might not open your emails, or Gmail spam filter might catch you. But, you know, I'm teaching a lesson there about this is why you aren't getting so many people seeing you on social, and here's what you can do instead. So those are a couple of teaching examples. Am I on slides, or are you in control now?
I'm in control.
Do you want to click forward one?
Yep. Ooh, I just turned them blue. There we go.
Really? Cool.
Yeah, so now
Well,
you've got
funny.
my TEDx and your throwback to 2011.
Yes, yeah, I love this one. This is a really good story example, and the TEDx ones always get people resonating with you every time. That they're just probably the best marketing thing ever, your TEDx talks. The amount of strangers we've had from different countries emailing in and being like, oh, I found Andrea's TEDx on YouTube and I just had to say something. And so, yeah, more story examples. And this is really good because I love picking up whatever's on the calendar for that week and sort of joining in with that hashtag. The TEDx one here on Mental Health Week, hashtag mental health awareness. That's really important to start. This is how you start to reach people outside of your existing audience. Hashtags on Instagram are a really good way to get found by new people, as long as you're using them in the right way. That's another lesson for another day. But in general, just to say, pick a few hashtags as and when they're relevant to your niche. Again, it's all about niche. Don't try and speak to everybody. But mental health awareness is a really relevant niche for Andrea with what she's talking about. And then going on to tell a bit of your story. In my case, I was labelled a dilettante and a Jane of all trades, and people love that story. That's a really good one. And this is where I think you sharing this story, because it's one of your really vulnerable ones and ones that people really resonate with. This is where a lot of people come to you and you start that courtship and that journey, and then they start to learn from you as you're teaching, and then they become your client. And this is the journey, people. And then I did this last night randomly on my Instagram. I thought it was a nice example to share because it's something a bit different as well. So this picture, this is me circa 2011 in one of my first business attempts. You guys didn't know this about me. I had an Etsy shop called Cirrus Boutique, and I've gone on to explain why I named it that, because I used to stare out the window of my rubbish job and look at the clouds and be miserable. And cirrus clouds always made me happy. And then the moral of this story is blah, blah, blah. And I've just gone on to talk about business and mistakes and learning and that sort of thing. And I think there's another element here that's going to work for people, which is that I've shown a different side to myself. Like, I've kind of shared a bit of a secret. You didn't know 2011, Sarah. I didn't know very much about marketing in 2011. I certainly wasn't working with Andrea. My life was entirely different. But I think it's good for people to know a bit of your background and to see that you're a real multidimensional person who's grown and evolved over the years and hasn't just popped up a marketing expert overnight. Like you were saying at the beginning, nobody does that. And it's important to show that you're not trying to do that. I think show that you're a real person with a history, because you become so much more relatable. And it's reassuring as well, I think, for my clients to know that I wasn't born with marketing knowledge, but that I learned it through necessity over time, because my failed business attempts have shown me, here's what's missing. It's marketing. Go learn marketing. And that's what led to me learning marketing through necessity. Having a business that didn't work, publishing my first book and being like, why is no one reading it? Things like that. So, yeah, story examples. Cool. And then, do you want to skip forward a slide?
And now it's homework time.
Oh, we're only half an hour in. I'm already giving you guys homework, but it's fun homework. You haven't actually got to do anything. I just want you to go and follow these two ladies on Instagram and just learn by example, because I really admire the way they do things, and I'm a big fan of modeling. Like Gary Vee says this as well. It's not always about reinventing the wheel. It's about seeing the processes that have worked for other people and then doing your own version of it. Because if that ain't broke, don't try and start from scratch and reinvent the wheel. There are a lot of us doing this 80-20 thing with the story and with the teaching and with the value, and it's working. So on the left, this is Angie Lee, and she is a marketing and business coach for healthcare people. So all of her clients are fitness instructors or health coaches, and she's their marketing ninja. And she does the story thing as well as the teaching thing incredibly well. So go and follow her and just see what she does and think about this lesson today, because you'll see her doing exactly what we've just been talking about. And she's in the US. And then for an example, over on my side of the pond, this is Susie Ashworth. And she's brilliant. She does this really well. And she writes the loveliest long form Facebook posts that I've really modelled a lot of my work on what she does. So a lot of what I've done for you is come from me looking at Susie and being like, oh, I love that. I love her long form posts. She does this amazing thing where she's, when you post a long form post on Facebook, you only see the very top of it and then you have to click to see more. That means you need to make a really big effort to make people click to see more. So Susie starts with something really avatar language pain pointy, referring to my earlier lesson, with emojis, and then a really striking image. So you see a really striking image, like she's got some great photography down there, and you see some words that really relate to you and some emojis, and it just makes you click to see more. And then as you click to see more, you get into the teaching and the story and the call to action. And she's brilliant. So go and follow her and just learn by example. That's your homework. Go play on social media.
Nice. That's easy.
Huh? Pretty easy. So, and then last two slides, I've just got a couple of things to offer you guys. So the first slide, if you click over, is I've got a template for you guys if you would like to learn the basic structure of blog posts, so how to write in this nice order with a working title that inspires people to click and read it, the click-through rates we were talking about, introduction, middle, end, call to action. Go sign up to my email newsletter list there. You get my Marketing Magic Monday tips every week via email, where I'll teach you a little mini lesson like this. I won't talk at you again. I'll just send you a little email about it. But also you'll get the blog post planner as a free gift when you opt in. And then the last page is a little offer I've got for you guys.
Dun,
And
dun, dun,
this,
dun.
you might recognize what I'm doing here. I've just done some teaching. There was a little bit of story in there. That was my 80% value with teaching and story. And now I'm doing the call to action. This is where I pitch to you something that I'm selling. So yeah, there's a lesson within the whole thing that's going on here. If you guys are interested in learning how to write fantastic emails that engage and that sell, but not only that, but you need to know the tech side of it. So how to start with a free piece of software like MailChimp, and just how to get started with how do you actually get people onto that list in the first place? How do you handle the tech side of it? I've recorded some really simple beginner-friendly walkthrough training videos, and there's also a template and written guide that goes with it as well. So that whole thing is available as a bundle, and it has 60% off for you guys until the end of Friday. So if you want to learn more about that, I'm not going to talk at you guys about it because there is a sales video on that page. So just go and watch a pre-recorded thing I made earlier of me talking about that offer. But I think it would be relevant for some of you guys if you've not got an email list, or if you're just starting and need a bit of help with it, because statistically email marketing is the most cost-effective way for a solopreneur to start getting more client conversions. Because you might have heard me mention before that being on social media is great. It's important. You do a lot of that courtship and that journey on there, but you've got to consider the algorithms as well. So people don't always see everything you're posting, but with email, they're more likely to if they open your email, which is why you've got to write a good title, but I'll teach you all of that. But yeah, that concludes my slides. So I am just fully open for chat, questions, hypotheticals, fun and games.
Yeah, let's get into the questions. If you have questions about how to write a blog post or a social media post, Sarah has been doing this for me at Make Your Mark Global and my other company, Innate Vitality, for the last few years. And she literally has learned to speak like me. Sometimes I'll read an article, like, for example, I'm a featured contributor on Ariana Huffington's new platform called Thrive Global. And sometimes I'll read something on Thrive and be like, God, that's brilliant. I wish I'd written that. Oh, I did, but it was Sarah. Because she just has this really down to a science. She also has some magical powers that she can get into my brain, apparently. We'll save that for another day. But I'd highly recommend, if you are kind of stuck with how do I plan my blogs, how do I plan my social, where I think what Sarah does really well is Sarah will take you by the hand step by step and demystify it. Whereas I usually just say, go do your homework. She will take you through, step by step. So thank you guys so much for saying that this is a great offer. It is. Thank you, Sarah, for being so generous with my tribe, because I don't want any excuses, y'all. It is time to nail your messaging and just start practicing. All right, so we have
It's one
some.
of those little fears to get over as well. Like once you do it, it's like getting into cold water for a swim. Just get in over your knees, get in over your waist, get in. And then once you're in, you're swimming and you're like, oh, that wasn't so hard and the water's really nice.
Yeah, yeah. So we have a question. Isn't a blog writing about what you want? Well, it depends. I'll let Sarah answer as well. When I think about a blog, it depends on your intention. So a lot of people, in the last 20 years, started blogs just as a means of self-expression, just sharing your ideas or your opinions about the world. What we're talking about today, this is following up on our deep dive business training, is when you are a coach or a healer, using your blog really becomes part of your marketing approach. So yes, you're kind of writing about what you want, but specifically today's session is really about how to use your writing to boost your business.
Yeah, I would say there's content and then there's content marketing. So we're coming at this from a very single-minded view of content marketing for business. If you are talking about content, so writing just purely for the love of it, great. I can't think of anything more fun really. But just as a caveat, if you also have a business as well, and what you're writing about for the love of it isn't the same as your business, and there's a chance of them being confusing, then just keep them very separate. A really, really good place to just blog for fun is medium.com. I'm sure you know it if you're already a blogger. I love Medium. You can even get paid a little bit to if you do well on there, and you can keep it completely separate from your business. But yeah, just keep in mind that there are two different worlds there.
Yeah. So Nilius says you write for fun. So good. So that's completely different. Today we're doing a business training. And so we have Amaka who says, many people read my posts and have big reactions. They love it. Yet getting them to take action becomes a problem. I don't know what I may be doing wrong. I'm getting exasperated about it all. So she says she tells stories with every post, and friends tease her that she can't make a one-liner caption. But she's struggling with getting people to take action. What should she do?
So, Nellius, are you doing that
No, this is
20% call
Amaka.
to action?
This is Amaka now.
Oh, sorry. Are you doing that 20% call to action? Because if you're not, then that's the problem. If you are doing it and it's still not working, then it might be a language thing. It might be that the offer's not quite sitting right with people. It might be that it's too complicated for them to take that offer. Something I see people, this might not be you at all, but it might help somebody else. Something I often see people doing wrong, sorry, not coaching terminology, but you know what I mean, is that they offer something too complicated. So I recently saw this at the start of the coronavirus lockdown. A local fitness instructor person that I know was offering online classes, and I thought, brilliant, I'll be up for that, and I'll just go log into PayPal and get signed up. And actually it wasn't PayPal at all. It was something really complicated where you had to like take her bank details to pay. And it was, think about making whatever you're offering a one click, so people don't have to do anything complicated, because in the nicest possible way, and I include myself in this, people are lazy these days. You know, think about someone sat on the sofa with their iPhone in their hand and everything is coming from their thumb. They're not going to get up and go get their bank details. They're not going to do anything too complicated. They're not going to go search for you online. You need to make it a one-click offer. So that call to action. So say you've written 80%, something really riling that gets people all emotional, and they're like, yes, I love this. And then bottom 20% action would be something like, if you're passionate about this, if you want to hear more from me and engage with me and ask some questions, come and join me in my private Facebook group. That would be a good call to action. And then you need to link it straight to the Facebook group so that you don't lose them, so that they haven't got to get off the sofa, go and do something, go find you somewhere else. I hope that makes sense. If that wasn't at all what you needed to hear, then ask again.
Well, Amaka has said, oh, I see. I do the call to action only a few times. Maybe I should do it more often. I just don't want to be salesy or sleazy, like Andrea says. So Amaka, I would ask this sort of follow-up question. And that is, when you say you're only doing it a few times, does that mean not in every post? Like you're just giving value with your content, but the posts that come out with a true call to action are only occasional? Because if you're in a sales mode, like say you have a specific program and you're opening the cart or opening a group program with a specific date, then leading up to that, a couple weeks before, you may be just doing content that's valuable and hint by saying, hey, just know that at the end of May, actually May 23rd and 24th, our program, Stories with Soul, is going to be happening live online. And I'd love for you to join me. So you can be mentioning that the couple of weeks before, but then the week of your big event or your big product offering, you're going to say it a little more directly. Like, okay, now here, you've heard me talking about this for the last 2 weeks. Here's the link to go buy. And so I don't think you need a call to action in every single post if you're not in sales mode. But if you are, then you need to be doing that. Or if, for those of you who aren't in sales mode, if you're in brand building or list building, you're trying to get people on your email list, then sending them to your freebie Even if it's just a sign off. Hey, if you enjoyed this post, you'll probably love meeting with me on my masterclass next Wednesday. And it's not a hard sell.
Mm.
That's not sleazy. And saying it every time wouldn't be offensive to most people because you're just saying, oh, I hope you enjoyed this. I'd love to see you on my masterclass. That's when you're giving something free.
Yeah. Oh, I just want to add to that as well. If you're not in sales mode, then you can still, you don't have to have a call to action every time. As Andrea says, there's nothing wrong with giving pure value, and that's great. But if you want to start thinking about the funnel, so funneling people down that journey to becoming more of a warm audience for you, you could have a gentle, non-monetary call to action at the bottom of every post, if you wish, that says, come and join my private Facebook group, or come and join my email newsletter for something private just for my members every week, or whatever you want to say, something that brings them a step closer to you. Because if they're just reading your articles on your blog or on Facebook or on medium.com or LinkedIn, they're your cold audience. And I'm starting to talk about the marketing funnel here, so apologies for getting a bit technical, but at the top of your funnel, you might have thousands of fans that love you and read your stuff but never do anything with you. A step down that funnel, there's a smaller number of them that funnel into the land of being your warm audience. And this can be people that have a slightly closer connection with you. So they are in your private Facebook group, or they're on your email marketing list. And if you want to start funneling people now while you're not in sales mode, then later on, when you are in sales mode, you can start sending them regular, not sleazy sales emails, but more salesy stuff. And again, in a Facebook group, the algorithm's not affecting you in the same way, so you can get more interaction with those people. You're starting to think now, you're planning for later, for when you can go into sales mode. Does that make sense? I
Yeah,
hope that
that
makes
does.
sense.
And that's getting back to what you said earlier about this customer journey, you know? And so
Yeah.
what Amaka has just put into chat, she's like, she doesn't do a call to action in every post. She says, say I make 100 posts a year, my call to action may just be in 5 or 10 of them. So that's why
Oh,
you're not
okay.
getting action, baby. Because if you think about it, if you're putting out 100 posts, what are the chances that people are actually reading all 100 of them? And out of that, you're only doing 5 or 10 that have the call to action. That's too few.
Yeah. Mm. And think about how busy our lives are. People read your post, love it for 10 seconds, and then forget all about you. You've got to stay in people's faces in the nicest possible way. This is how you can serve them. I really, if you like Facebook and you're comfortable with this, I'd really recommend making yourself a little Facebook group for your readers, just for your fans, where you can nurture them a bit more, because you can invite them on every single post that you do. You can go back to your old posts that are still out there, and you can add that call to action to them and get future readers to come and join you. And then you've got that little tribe that are closer to you, and
Yeah.
make the most of that. You've put a lot of time and effort into creating that content that people love. You deserve to get something back for it. Don't feel guilty about asking them to join your Facebook group. That's where you can help them better.
Exactly. And what she says is, I just teach, and inspire, hoping that they contact me because the post speaks to them. Honey, you can't hope. People need to be explicitly told. Now, it's true, if there is someone who is hot and they really can see that you could help them, many people, I mean, it happens in my world. I get DMs, people just saying, I want to work with you, I want to interview you, how do I get coached by you? That does happen. But the majority of people need to be invited. They need to be told what to do. As you know, in Deep Dive 6, I said, think of sales as an invitation. So are you
Mhm.
inviting them to take a next step? That's not sleazy. It's just saying, hey, if you want to connect, join this Facebook group, or join my email list, or join me on a Facebook Live or a YouTube Live or whatever. So you can't hope.
Yeah.
Hoping is nice.
Do it.
Have
Yep.
faith, but take action.
Yeah, cool.
So good. So Amaka says, this makes so much sense. I see clearer now. Awesome. And Shamini says, it's the energy behind our sharing that is the key. Absolutely. So if you're in teaching and an inspiration mode and you make an offer, it's the energy. If your energy is aligned with what we talked about in Deep Dive 6, and that is you are truly committed to transformation. transforming yourself, transforming them, transforming the energy on this planet, then you shouldn't feel bad about making an invitation to someone. And it's that energy behind it. If you're coming from this needy, grabby place, then that's going to come through. So, all right, so wonderful. We have another question. Nilius, I hope I'm saying your name right. If you write about government conspiracy stuff, like deep state, that you feel are true, will you be censored by Medium? I don't know the Medium platform rules on government conspiracy stuff. I cannot answer that one. Sorry.
Wow, curious. No, I've got no idea either. It wouldn't be Medium that I was worried about, though.
That's
Be
right.
careful what you put out there.
Yeah. Yes. So wonderful. So Shireen says this has been helpful. Right now, she's got 700 Facebook friends. Many are passionate in the arts, health, spiritual, and social change. And so this training has been helpful. Non-monetary offers, including inviting people to join a newsletter, a dedicated group to bring people closer. She says, I can exhale. Yes. Because the more that you just bring people in on a journey, it's like if you were standing around at some social hour and someone said, oh, what do you do? Oh, well, I help people, women, have a whole new relationship with menopause. Well, then they would want to kind of lean in and say, oh, tell me more. And then if they're really interested, what would you do next? Oh, well, you want to sit down and let's chat for a little while, and maybe you chat for an hour, and then you exchange business cards, and you take it to the phone, or you go out for tea or something. So look at social media the same way. You're just taking this relationship journey, giving, 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 and then inviting them a little more into your private world, whether that's a private group or on your email list, so that they can get more of your expertise. And it doesn't have to be salesy. If we would all shift our perspective to looking at this as relationship building, because ultimately, I know for those of you who are in the healing and light worker space, the clients that you take on, you form these bonds, and it is a relationship. It's not transactional with us. So, and even in your case, Sarah, I mean, the clients that you work with, these coaches and consultants, when they're working with you, that is a relationship. It's not like, here, go write my emails for me. These are people that you work with over years, and you see their business transform, their lives transform. So if you all would just shift your thinking to think about engaging with your potential customer as a potential friend or someone, not like it's a sale. I got to get that sale. I got to get that money. It will shift things for you in so many ways.
Absolutely. And like if you met a new person you wanted to be friends with, if you never asked them out for that coffee, you'd never actually form that friendship. If you never, followed each other on Facebook, you'd never get that friendship going. So in the same way, like, don't be afraid of the call to action. It doesn't have to be sleazy. It doesn't have to be awkward. I mean, I'm British. We're pretty awkward about sales, but, you have to just put yourself with that. I've worked on myself. Like Shamini said, she's a Brit as well, and she's learned that it's about the energy and the intention behind it. And it's so true. If you're comfortable with what you're offering, and you should be, then why not ask? Don't ask, don't get.
Exactly. Exactly. Awesome. So Shamini is kind of chiming in about pricing. She says that when I did things for free, I didn't get to help many people. But in the past year, since charging the most, she's got to help people and have the highest transformations. So we talked a bit in one of our deep dives about how you price your offers. And what you're saying, Shamini, is exactly what I said. People pay for transformation. They don't pay for features. They don't pay for benefits in the abstract. They pay for, how is this going to transform my life? So when Sarah was describing her marketing bundle, it's like she's giving you step-by-step guidance and videos that you can watch and rewatch. Like, that's what people are trained for. The transformation you get is, wow, I now have the ease of knowing Sarah's step-by-step process. I can follow it to a T. I've got all these ideas, a blog planner. You've just taken a load of stress and overwhelm off of me. So that's the transformation. So I feel like we can't give away our services for free forever. Do all the teaching and the stuff that you do from your big compassionate heart, give. And then, absolutely, if you know that you can create a transformation in someone's life or business, then definitely make the offer, make that invitation to
Mm.
bring them into a closer relationship.
Yeah, just show them how you fix those pain points, because that's what they're looking for. They've got pain, you fix it. Relationship. Uh,
Well, thank you all for tuning in. And thank you, Sarah. I'm going to put up one more time your email marketing bundle. So if anyone else is tuning in late, share a little bit more about what is in this training bundle because we get 60% off. And y'all, Sarah has been running my social media, so I can tell you that what she's good at is really good and it's really helpful. It has kept me going and
well,
going and going.
so using what I just taught you about content marketing, your pain points, if you're my ideal customer, you are a life coach or a healer or perhaps an author or some kind of online teacher yourself who does not have enough sales coming in, who puts a lot of time and effort into trying to create content but runs around in circles and doesn't get enough conversions or sales or signups. So if those sound like your pain points, then first, I want you to know that email marketing is statistically the most cost-effective way for you to market yourself as a solopreneur with probably zero advertising budget. We all start out like that and absolutely don't want to spend money on ads in the early days. So when you're on social media, it's important to be out there because you're creating social proof and you're beginning relationships with people. But consider algorithms. Consider how important it is for you to own your contacts. When you grow your own email marketing list, you've got your own contact group of people that you can email regularly. And this is how you get the most conversions from interested people into clients. So email marketing is totally crucial for the small business owner. What I'm teaching you in here is how to begin from scratch, if you haven't got already, your own email marketing list. I've chosen to teach in MailChimp because you can get a free account, so you spend zero on the setup of this. I use another free tool called canva.com for free graphic design, which it's free, guys, and it's incredibly simple. So you're going to be shown how to use MailChimp and Canva to create professional looking email marketing and how to actually get people onto that list. So we're covering everything from how to set it up. The tech side is handled very gently, step by step. Don't worry. You can just follow me through on screen. I'm going to teach you how to write those emails in the right way. And you've got a template to download so you haven't got to overthink it. And I'm going to teach you how to market it all on the social so that you get people onto that email list in the first place. And it's crucial to your business. So 60% off until the end of Friday because COVID and we all need some help. So jump on. Cool. That's really it. So
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Sarah. This has been great. We've had some people chiming in. Ofke says Sarah is great. Thank you, Ofke. I know you know.
yeah.
Sarah has been awesome with your social media. Tony Horton, thank you, says thank you so much. Really enjoyed this, and she recommends Sarah as well. So I love how the training bundle includes all of the templates. You know, I'm a big believer in giving people like a format, give them a template until you're rocking it
Yeah.
on your own and you feel confident on your own. So wonderful. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks for having me. Cool.
All right, my friends. Well, it has been so lovely to connect with you. We are doing another special training, and next week we will actually be inviting you to go deep into your archetypes. So you may have noticed on YouTube, I released it sneakily, an interview that I did with Ofkia Tekens, the Jungian psychologist from the Netherlands. I showcased her during the deep dive training, showing you her archetype card decks and how they help you connect with these aspects of your personality that need to come forth to help you transform and grow and do more in your life or in your business. So next Wednesday, we will be having Ofkia demonstrate and leading us through one of her guided meditations so that you can actually have the experience yourself. And for those of you looking to add something new to the way you deliver your coaching, Ofkia has a special program where she's teaching, she's certifying other coaches in her methodology of the archetype quest. So if Jungian archetypes really speak to you and you'd like to explore this for yourself, then you can join us this same time next week for a special experience with Ofkia Takens. It will be wonderful. And if you want slides, then register for the deep dives, and Sarah will share her slides from today's teaching. And the nice thing about that is that Sarah lays everything out in a really nice way to follow format. So you're going to send that out tomorrow, Sarah?
Yes, I will do.
Uh-oh. Sarah, can you hear me?
I'm here. Can you hear me? I'm still here.
I can't hear you anymore. Where's your audio?
Don't think I pressed anything.
So Sarah will be sending out an email so that you can get the slides. You'll get links to the resources that she mentioned, and you can join her marketing bundle, and and then you'll join us next week so that we can take you deeper. One of the things that I'm super committed to is making sure that you are getting past any of the blocks, whether that's fear of success or fear of failure, fear of being seen, fear of judgment. We're going to help you get through that. If you are afraid of money, what we'll be going over partially next week with Ofkia, she has a whole new program that she developed with Annalisa, whose last name I can't say yet. I'm working on it. But they have a new archetype program called the Money Block Docs. So using archetypes, you can actually tune into these aspects of your personality that can help you improve your relationship with money so that you won't be afraid to make offers, that you won't put a limit to how much you can earn. You won't have to keep looking at money as some bad or dirty thing. Money is neutral. Money has nothing to do with the ego. It's just this symbolic aspect of what we exchange energy and exchange value. So it's going to be really good to dive into archetypes in general. Ofkia will talk a little bit about the money archetypes next week. So please do join us for that if this is of interest. And as I mentioned, if you would like to join me and Sarah and some other wonderful people from around the world, May 23rd and 24th, I am hosting Stories with Soul. This is a 2-day interactive workshop where I teach you how to use the hero's journey to write your own story. Personally, it's healing for you to really look at your life as a heroic journey, to reprogram some of the beliefs, some of the things that may have tripped you up, to really glean the lessons from your life so that they empower you moving forward. And you get to interact. So it's not that I'm just teaching at you, it's a workshop. So you get to share aspects of your own story, different turning points in your life, so that you can finally put it into proper perspective, healing for yourself. And if you want to be a better storyteller, whether that's on stage or in your Facebook or Instagram lives or LinkedIn lives, or it's in your writing for your blogs or even a book, the Stories with Soul workshop gives you so much in-depth training and knowledge about the psychology and the neuroscience that I love, about how to really engage with your reader from a deep place. So it's healing for you, and when you master this, you'll be able to tell stories that are healing for other people. So Stories with Soul is one of the things that I love, love, love teaching. It used to be only reserved for our authors at Make Your Mark Global. But what I noticed is, even though we're working with these healers and light workers who are amazing in their professional careers, they were having these amazing breakthroughs and epiphanies. And I realize more people in our community need it. Even if you're not ready to write a book, learning to become a good storyteller starts with the stories that you tell yourself about yourself. So if you'd like to join us, Stories with Soul will be live streamed. Normally, I welcome you to come here to France and we do it in person. But thanks to this pandemic, we're going to do it live stream. And we'll be together for 6 hours each day with a lunch break. And you get live training from me and feedback from me. So it's a very healing workshop, but also very empowering for your business. So thank you all so much for being here. I know Sarah's going to pop into the chat. Hopefully, she's got the link for her 60% off the email marketing training bundle, and how you can get access to the deep dive training replays and all of the slides and worksheets. And there are sometimes that we offer special training only for people on our list that we don't broadcast live. I do a lot of our training privately through Zoom and through other platforms, so that if you have questions that you don't want out on Facebook or YouTube, we can do it privately. But you only get that if you're on the list. So be sure to sign up for the deep dives, and I'd be happy to share that with you. All right, my dear friends, thank you for joining me on this beautiful Wednesday. Please know that I am always sending good energy your way, and it is always my prayer that you are truly happy and thriving and free from suffering. So until we meet again, please remember that you are a gift to the world. So share your presence with passion. Much love, everyone. Bye. And thank you to Sarah.